Boxing Opinions 100. Hit that subscribe button for me. Today, I wanted to discuss the Charlo twins, brothers. I mean, I made videos on them separately, but I wanted to do a video of them together. All right, we have JAMALL Charlo versus Juan Macias Montiel and JERMELL Charlo versus Brian Castano. Now, on both of the Charlo's twins' last outing, facing the opponents that they face, Juan Montiel and Brian Castrano, both Charlo brothers struggled with their opponents. JAMALL struggled with Juan Montiel, and JERMELL Charlo struggled with Brian Castrano. So I took into effect that maybe the inefficiency of being in the ring, the inactivity, may have played a factor in their performances. So, or either one or two things. Either the competition is rising with each win, because as you keep winning, your competition rises because you have to fight better and better fighters. So, and then I said, well, there was a lockdown due to COVID, so I had to give them a break on their performances. Because JERMELL Charlo versus Brian Castano, if you look at the weigh-in and the way he tried to bully Brian Castano, you would swear up and down that he was going to destroy Brian Castano. Now, sometimes a boxer feel that he's a little bigger than the other fighter, so they kind of not have the respect for the opponent until they got in the ring, which I thought may have been an instance here against JERMELL Charlo versus Brian Castano. Because JERMELL Charlo was much bigger than Brian Castano in height-wise. But if you've ever watched boxing, you will see that that doesn't really play much of a factor unless you know how to use your size. And, you know, it just doesn't come with having size. You have to have size and strength to keep your opponent off you. And JAMALL Charlo against Juan Montiel, he suffered and struggled. Both of these Charlo brothers could have lost these fights, but I have on my scorecard JERMELL Charlo losing precisely against Brian Castrano. I mean, he came on late, but he gave away so many rounds. So it was not like he came back and had a couple of 10-8 rounds or a knockdown or something. I might have gave him the 12th round, and he hurt Brian Castrano in the 10th, which Brian Castrano admitted. And JAMALL Charlo, when facing Juan Montiel, I don't know if Juan Montiel was considered a step up for JAMALL Charlo, but he most definitely posed several problems for him. So let me know your thoughts on what do you think about the Charlo twins' last outing, JERMELL Charlo versus Brian Castano, and JAMALL Charlo versus Juan Montiel. Do you think that JERMELL Charlo won the fight against Brian Castano, and do you think JAMALL Charlo won his fight against Juan Montiel? Even though Jamal Charlo had a somewhat rough outing, I still gave him the fight. But I just felt, he could have been rusty or inactivity, or is it the fact that the competition is getting better as they step up and rise up to better competition? So I'm thinking, what would they do against better competition on that night? So what if Jamal Charlo was facing a David Benavidez or a Canelo Alvarez on that night? Would he still be able to be victorious? And the the division that JERMELL Charlo was in is stacked. So he has some stiff competition. So if he's going to continue to climb, he has to, up his game, or I don't know, is that what he has to offer? Some people are doing their best. He seemed to have no complaints about when he was asked, I'm talking about JERMELL Charlo, when he was asked would he give Brian Castano a rematch. He kind of strayed away from the question and just said, we'll see about that. So some things happen in that ring that, you don't want to be a part of no more. So I don't know if Brian Castano, did he hit Charlo with something that maybe we don't know, that you don't see as an outsider? See, when the fight was over, so he's come out with comments now saying that he would be glad to have a rematch for Brian Castano, but I guess much later on. So that's kind of avoiding the question still. But let me know your thoughts on the Charlo twins, and if you've seen both of their last fights, JERMELL Charlo versus Brian Castano and Jamal Charlo versus Juan Montiel. What do you think of their performances? And if you didn't see the fights, go back to YouTube and watch them. Jamal Charlo and Brian Castano fought to a draw, which I thought Brian Castano win, and JERMELL Charlo versus Juan Montiel, which I felt he struggled but still won the fight. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And this is Boxing Opinions 100, and I'm out.